What's good, food friends? Hope you're all doing amazing and avoiding those ultra processed foods. My name is Lee, and thanks for joining me today on Dude Talking Food. Today, I'm going to show you how to stretch out your food budget, be a little more economical. We're going to learn how to make a stock from either a turkey or a chicken. I'm going to use my Thanksgiving turkey, but you can also do this with like a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing a video on that in the next coming months. I thought it would be a really cool thing to show. But let's get this stock going. It's really simple to do, and I think you'll enjoy it. First off, I've got a few beat up carrots and stalks of celery. This is just for stock, so the fact that they're beat up, we don't care. It works just as well. Got a large handful of green onions. A whole white or yellow onion works as well. I'm just using what I have. We've cut these up into manageable pieces. I'm going to crush about 2 inches of ginger. The ginger is optional. I just like it and I have it. And then we're going to do our cloves of garlic. And this is literally all of our vegetable prep. Easy peasy. Next, we're just going to break up our turkey skeleton into manageable pieces. If you're using a chicken, you might want to leave it whole. You can do that with a turkey as well. I just find it's easier to manage in pieces. You want to be able to keep this all submerged in your stock pot, so breaking it up makes this easier. Then, rather unceremoniously, we're going to add in our bones and vegetables. There's no special technique here. We're just going to get it all in the pot, everything in there. We're going to add in about a tablespoon of salt and a couple teaspoons of whole peppercorns and 2 large bay leaves. I'm using 4 small ones because I didn't have any large ones. And then about 2 gallons of cold fresh water. If you're doing a chicken, you're going to use a smaller pot and less water. You just want to cover this all and have extra water above it all. We're also going to add about a 1/4 cup of cider vinegar. This helps draw minerals out of the bones and everything, and it's going to add them to your stock. If you're doing a chicken, you just want to add about 3 tablespoons, but I'm using a big pot and a turkey, so I'm obviously going to use more. Now all we're going to do is turn the burner to high and get this starting to heat up. This took about 20 minutes to get going since I had frozen parts of my turkey in there still, and we added very, very cold water. Once we get this to a low boil, we turn the heat down and we're going to let this low simmer for about 3.5 to 4 hours for a turkey. For a chicken, you can do this in about 2 to 2.5. And now we just want to keep coming back every 30 or 40 minutes just to poke this mixture down gently. We don't want to stir it. We don't want to move it around a lot. We want to touch this as little as possible. But we also want to make sure that there's no large pieces of bone sticking out and that need to be pushed down. We want this all submerged. About halfway through, I'm going to add in some herbs. I didn't add this at the start because herbs often can go bitter if you stew them too long. So halfway through my 4 hours for this turkey stock, I'm going to add in a few sprigs of thyme, then sage. I'm also going to add in a small bunch of parsley and then cilantro. And I'm throwing this in whole, stalks and all, stems and all, just don't care. And this is the longest part, the waiting. I went almost 4 hours on this. Tons of surfing YouTube while I was waiting and poking this all down periodically. But our 4 hours is over and we can start pulling out all the large pieces. There's going to be some meat that's falling off the bone in here all mixed in. You can pick through this and add it back into your finished soup, but I'm going to let you know that all the nutrition has been pulled out of this meat that was on the bone, and it's going to be tough and really tasteless, and you're better off not using it. You've already pulled all the nutrition out of it. Once we've got all our large stuff out, we can just run it through our handy dandy strainer. Love this thing. I've strained enough to make a pot of soup for the weekend for ourselves, and the remaining I'm going to strain into another pot and put into a freezer safe storage and then throw in the freezer for meals for the rest of the winter. I've got almost a gallon of soup, of stock set aside now, and enough for my soup for the weekend. And now we can make our soup. I'm going to get this back up to a simmer and we're going to add in our thickener. This week I'm using a tablespoon and a half of cornstarch and about 3 cups of a cup of water. This will be enough to thicken it slightly, but I don't want it as thick as a stew. I want it right in between where it is in a stew. So I'm going to add this slowly and in stages. Cornstarch can be a little weird to work with. It's not my usual go-to. Usually I'm a potato starch and soup or stew type of person, but I'm out of potato starch, so I'm using cornstarch. And I did wind up using this entire slurry mixture to thicken this where I wanted. Then we're going to add in some seasoning. No salt, but a tablespoon of chicken bouillon or chicken powder. This provides our salt and umami flavor, and this is hard to capture in homemade soup, so this is why I always use it. Then to shortcut this, I'm just going to add about 1.5 tablespoons of Italian herb mix. This is a mix of 6 or 7 common herbs like rosemary, oregano, and thyme. And it's my go-to when I don't feel like pulling out a specific flavor. And here I'm going to add the last of our thickening slurry. Like I said, I wound up using it all. If you want it thicker, add more, but do it in stages. If you want it thinner, just add less. Now we can just add in a can of drained chickpeas and about a pound of mixed veggies. I wanted a lighter soup that's more brothy, but I easily could have put 2 cans of chickpeas and the whole 2-pound bag of mixed vegetables in this. And this is where you can add in what you like. You can add whatever type of veggies, beans, whatever. I'm just showing the fastest, simplest soup that I could, but with this turkey stock, you can use it like any cooking or soup stock. It's just like buying it at the store. That's the beauty of it. You've made your own. Now we're just going to let this all simmer for about 10 minutes, and we've got our turkey vegetable soup for the weekend. I hope you all enjoyed this recipe and technique video on how to make a basic stock and that it helps you stay away from those ultra processed foods. Here's some other recipes I know you'll enjoy. Hope you all are doing amazing. Keep staying away from those ultra processed foods. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Keep being amazing and awesome, everyone. Peace.